Hi viewers, we're back with another episode of Breakfree Essay, a podcast where we talk about the business world, motivate, inspire people. But today we're not gonna have a guest, because I'm gonna be the guest, and we would just want to reflect the year. The year was very long, and we had a few guests on the show, and we're just gonna reflect on it, where we also try with the podcast to build our community. So yeah, I'm going to hand it over to my camera guy, and he's going to ask me some few questions.
Okay. Question number one. When you think about all our guests so far, what kind of people stand out to you the most?
Yo, there is. Okay, all of them basically stand out for me, because each of them have a particular story, a particular struggle, and that is what we all want to learn or understand this story. What is it all about? Why? What did they go through to get to the point where they are? So for me, there's not particular one that stands specific out, but all of them across always different. When it's artists, when it's business people, they all stand out because they all have a unique story.
Okay. What were you surprised about hearing about these stories, and is anything that you can share with us?
The thing that surprises me the most is that there was two factors. Your back was against the wall. Either the company that you work with, they fired you, or you were retrenched, and that made you think like, here you working. What if my company do the same thing? What is my plan B? Do I have a plan B? It is questions you need to look at for yourself personally going forward.
Which guest or conversation challenged your thinking the most?
Yeah, and there, because it's just a general conversation. I take it like it's a general conversation to make your guests also comfortable. And what challenged me is that to get my guests in a comfort zone where they can feel freely to talk and just express how they, because they are actually telling their journey. But for me also, as you all know, at the beginning of the videos where we started, I was nervous. I don't know if you guys did see it, but I was nervous and I also made mistakes. And that is the thing that I realized. And before we even shoot, we like have a pre-discussion with the guests. But still, it takes them a few questions to set them in and let them feel free to talk what is on their mind.
What any of these guests, some as you say, open up more, some don't. Were you surprised by any particular case that maybe opened up more than you were expecting? Because some people can get to the start quicker than others. So was there a case that opened up more than you?
Yeah, it depends on, for me, it depends on the type of question you ask. And as the person answer, that person must give a more explanation so that the viewers can understand it better. So they like Ashley Benson, for me he was quite good because he did like a talk, he want to express himself, and that is quite amazing that someone can open up and tell his part of his journey, what he's going through. That is the most important. Yeah, we get here in their case. You see, the thing is, you must be a bit careful, and I think most of the cases they're a bit careful to drop something, because nowadays on social media they can use anything against you. They don't listen to the whole thing, just the part where they feel they want to attack you, which is the dangerous part of social media. That's why people is nowadays a bit scared to just say anything or do anything.
Okay. So looking back, how was your approach to start interviewing guests, and what do you think has changed as you moved on to episodes?
To be honest, the actual reason why me and my team did start the podcast, because we also trying to be entrepreneurs, trying to get our foot into the business world, and it is tough, and that is where we come together and decided, no man, let's interview people. Yeah, to approach someone because they also have schedules. It's what people don't understand. It is a bit struggling to get the person, to get the schedule. You must constantly be in contact until we do the shoot. We actually there. They tell the story. We do the shoot. So and that is what people don't understand. It's just not, you can't just phone someone and they're gonna say no, I'm gonna be that time available. It doesn't work like that. They must check their schedule. You must check your schedule. You must slot someone to know that okay, on Thursday we're gonna be there. Our focus is gonna be on that person to give the viewers a good content to watch.
Okay. What mistakes have you made early on? Anything you would like to share?
I made a lot of mistakes. There was, I said, but some of the kids, I said, but tell the names wrong. Because I'm not good at names, I admit it. I told them. But it was a few times. I said, but they just told me the name. And then, as soon as you start shooting, I just say your name wrong. And we carry on. And it's like normal. I don't know if some of your viewers picked it up. You can just put it on the comments.
Okay. How is your listening improved, do you think, by doing all these interviews and listening to different stories? So, has your listening changed? Are you more empathetic to most people now that you're on this journey of podcasting?
For me, it's doing this, and I'm not a professional host person, but to do this, it enhances your skill to listen, and also you picked up how people pronounce it and how they state their words. So that helped you a lot, where normally you would talk and you wouldn't really listen to the person, but now you enhance the skill of listening more and hearing what the person is actually saying. Because I must remember, to give a good content out, I need to listen very careful, and if there's a question on top of the question, I need to ask so that that person can express them better.
Okay. Then, as guests, maybe would share a story. When have you learned that timing? Has that been difficult? When the guests talk on, but you need to move to a different topic, obviously. A podcast is not a soapy, so we have to have certain time limits. So was there ever a guest that you felt like maybe or a story where a guest was sharing and you had to interrupt to move on to a different topic? How do you find navigating that? Because you don't want to interrupt somebody when you're talking, because it seems disrespectful. So how would you go about that approach?
Yeah, that is quite. It is a bit tricky, because you also need to, whatever a guest is saying, you need to emphasize what it was. I can't just cut you in and saying, but at the end of the day, what the explanation I give you, that you need to answer the question, you need to explain, but don't drag it out too long, because at the end of the day, we're moving away from the point that we want to bring across to our viewers.
Okay. Then the next question is, how do you, obviously there's certain things people can say on the camera and certain things not. So how do you think you make the guests feel comfortable to say things that they feel comfortable sharing with?
It comes down to the pre-treatment, when you talk to them over the phone before we actually meet. Some of the guests, I met them only that day. I never seen them. I just speak over the phone with them, WhatsApp messages, call them. That's the only time. So our actual, and that is what making it a bit tricky, so that to get that person comfortable, because it's like almost like, if I look at their point of view, you like a stranger. So how can I just share something with them? Although we try to be very much positive, because that is what we want to drive. We want to drive positivity and also inspire people.
What kind of questions do you think unlocks the guests the most? What questions do you think that, if you ask that question, that's what they open up more about?
That is a bit tricky to answer, because it's not straightforward. Every guest, I need to ask them the profile. I need to do research on certain stuff, and to understand what industry they're in, So you can't say there's a particular question. What for me is it more like um I want to bring across what I on the journey, what I want everybody to see or to understand what I went through. So that is for me very important. And it takes a bit of brain power to think about it. I need to do research, go cross referencing certain stuff.
Has it become easier now that the podcast has been getting some views? So we had 238 views, subscribers on YouTube, and like 48 on Facebook. Do you think it's becoming easier to get more guests, and does it become easier to get these guests to have these conversations?
Yeah, it does because it at some point it's more like it becoming a second nature for me and my team that we need to get that person. And at the end of the day, you just ask a person, do you want me to interview you? If you say yes, yes, we go ahead. But it can be a bit tricky, especially to get the person because, like I said, the scheduling, how their lifestyle is, you must all of that stuff we must consider. We must consider our lifestyle also because we also have certain stuff we need to complete. So as time goes, I believe it's gonna get easier. We're gonna get some guest approaches because in the new year we're gonna see a lot of exciting people coming. So there is people, and you always what people don't understand is wherever event you are or wherever concert or even if you just speak on a normal day to day and you get a chance to promote the podcast so that we can get more viewers and we can get more views and we can get more people to see what we are busy with.
From these guests that was interviewed, have any of these stories changed you, inspired you? As you're saying, you're also doing your own side hustle, of course.
Yeah.
So do you think, is there a guest story in particular that has changed you and also changed your mindset?
There is all of them in their own particular way. How they explain it's very inspiring to hear what you can, and basically if you put your mind to it, you want to achieve this thing. There's no backup plan. It's you just think, nah, this is the way, and this is what I want to achieve in life. So that is very inspiring, especially where they tell the struggles, what they win, what they're going through, and still going through because they didn't reach the end goal yet. And we obviously in let's say a year from now we need to check up on them again to recap and see what is happening. Is there any changes? So yeah, it's all of there's not you can't really say particular inspire you, but it does make your mindset think a bit, and it changes here and there. It changes, and it at the end of the day it motivates you and inspires you to do what you believe in.
So if a new subscriber or somebody new has to watch from episode 1, what would you want the subscribers to think, or the new subscribers? So subscribers that we do have, they know we drop most of our episodes on Sunday, 6:30, like 7 rand tyd, 6:30 on a Sunday. So if a new subscriber or somebody would ask you, what if they watch back to back, what do you think they would learn about Breakfree, our guests, and what we're trying to achieve?
I think they will be very much motivated in a sense of you think that in most people you think like no man, I can't achieve this, the journey is too hard, this is the but if you listen to what they're saying, and our editing did quite grow quite good because when we started it was like 6 hours we were struggling to complete the video, and that was and we could have given up. We could have said, nah, I mean, we had enough, we don't want to do this anymore. But as the viewer would watch, he would see there's different type of and here and there's stuff you're gonna be interested in. Let's say you like photos, so then India would be interested. If you like nails and hair, then Lauren will be interested. If you like perfume and like Monterey, she's doing perfume, she's doing TikTok creations as well. If
Ashley Benson, sy noem ons maar die guests.
Oh, yeah, like Ashley Benson is doing tattoos. So, if that is an interest to you, if you're gonna watch it back to it, it is gonna be long. And even what the guy Roger we had, he's also quite interesting. He have a big profile. So, if the certain stuff or certain case is an interest to you, you're gonna be locked to it. You're gonna watch the episode done. You're gonna maybe put a comment down. And what we just want to like.
So obviously you still have conversations with the guests, all of these that was interviewed. What was their feedback? How are they finding the show? How do they think they're finding the podcast? Some of them are on the podcast. There's still some episodes that still to drop. Obviously, still for the new year.
Yes.
So what is the guests' experience has been? What's their feedback been?
Okay, we didn't drop yet behind the scenes, and there's where they are saying their point of view. But most of them, some guests did say also it feels like therapy, and some did say, "Yo, it's so amazing to I'm doing a certain type of business, and no one did ever ask me how am I feeling, how am I doing," and that is quite, for me, that's about, it makes me feel good, man, that what we are doing, that we let them also feel good, although we want to expose the business more, but to understand the business owner, how they are feeling, what they are thinking, and if they give the feedback to us and say, yo, I feel quite good talking about all of the stuff I'm going through, which in most cases, they probably have no one that they can speak to, because it's not all the people who's interested in business.
So if you're looking towards all the guests that you've interviewed so far, how would you take this approach now to interview future guests? So how would you think from where you started, with the first guest being Monterey, how do you think your approach now has changed to now future guests and guests we will have in the future?
Yeah, like I said, as we grow, there's problems, and we figure things out. And as we figure things out, we grow as at Breakfree. We grow as a team. And with each problem we're getting, as we go along, we're getting better because we need to solve the problem so that we can create a better quality of content for our viewers.
Is there any guest that you would like to interview if given the chance? Let's say with somebody famous, somebody that you would want to interview, that you think this would be a great episode.
Yeah, there's a lot of guests. I like to go I like politics as well, cars, chess players. So if it's in that genre, I would love to interview a person to say, just to hear in what I also want to talk about with him, because you never had a chance. But if I get the opportunity, it will be amazing for me.
That's all the questions I had.
Is that all the questions?
That I had from my side. Feel free to drop more questions in the comments. Let us know how you're doing. Let us know what we could add. Please keep on tagging and sharing.
Yeah, and guys, we want to, from me and the Breakfree team, we want to thank you guys for the support, and please like and subscribe. We'll see you in the new year.